that right. Unbelievable. Boy, I'm telling you, that Ali was something else. He had the hand speed, the foot speed, the head movement. He was the best there was, the best there ever was. What are you talking about?
Oh,
I know you're not saying
Ali's the greatest fighter of all time.
Yes, we are.
No question about it. Oh, come on, fellas, come on. You want to tell me Muhammad Ali is better than Mike Tyson?
You're not comparing Mike Tyson to Muhammad Ali, are you?
Yeah, you can. The greatest fighter ever, Mike Tyson?
The greatest fight ever?
That's like the greatest.
Ali was so much faster than Tyson. He hit harder. He would have taken Tyson out in the second or third round. He had the hand speed, he had the jab, he had it all.
Tyson didn't have the jab. I mean, looking at your face, you didn't have a mark on it.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Remember the rope?
He would have had a mark.
Hey, fellas, how about Holyfield?
Get out of here.
Tyson is the greatest fighter of all time.
He's choking. Rope-a-dope, hand speed, the shuffle. It was the best there was.
Tyson did knock that boy out.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Hold on. If Tyson and Ali were to fight each other in their prime, who would win the fight?
There's no question. Thank you.
Mike Tyson, are you kidding me? Mike Tyson would knock that. Boom. Oh, come on. Mike Tyson would knock him out.
I would like to hear this from you, and I want the world and the cameras to hear. Who's the heavyweight champion of the world? One more time, we don't want no excuses. They may say the film was bad or the camera was broke. One more time, who's the champion of the world?
There's no way, I refuse. There's no way in the world, no one's going to beat me. There's no way. I love myself too much, have too much pride, and I believe deep down I'm the best fighter in the world, and nobody can touch me.
In age, they were almost 25 years apart. The stylish and arrogant Muhammad Ali, who fought epic battles with Joe Frazier and George Foreman, and the muscular and menacing Iron Mike Tyson, who at age 20 defeated Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. At their peaks, they were young gods of violence and passion who ruled boxing with flair and fist. Both were exiled by outside forces at the height of their powers, so we can only match them in debate from when we saw them at their best. It is a fantasy match that fuels heated arguments wherever people talk boxing.
But it's one of those fights that everybody talks about. I would love to have seen it. I might even have paid money to see it, and that's saying something for me.
If you ever wanted an opponent perfect for Muhammad Ali, it would be Tyson. Because Muhammad would slap him all over the place, stop him, make him like a feudal guy trying to do something, and the other guy's not cooperating.
Ali was too quick. Lateral movement, head movement, hand speed. Mike Tyson would not have been able to cope with that.
Taught to strike hard and often by the legendary Custer motto, Mike Tyson began his explosive career in 1985 with 19 straight knockouts, a dozen of them in the first round. At his peak in 1988, the night he knocked out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds, he seemed unbeatable. Muhammad Ali's early years were less explosive but equally impressive. Beginning in 1960, he reeled off 19 straight victories. February 25th, 1964, he stopped another equally menacing figure, Sonny Liston, to win the heavyweight championship and open up a new era in boxing.
I must be the greatest. I told the world talk to God every day. If God's with me, can't nobody be against me. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
By 1966, Ali was at the top of his game, perhaps the greatest heavyweight ever.
Muhammad Ali's prime, 1966-67, right in there, before he is defrocked by all the boxing commissions for failing to step forward for the draft in Houston. Zora Foley, Cleveland Williams. This was Ali at his prime. He was unbelievable. Fastest hands I have ever seen outside of Ray Robinson, who was 2 divisions lower. As a heavyweight, he moved, he punched, he did everything.
I think when you rank heavyweights, you should rank every heavyweight but Ali of the 60s and leave him out of the rankings and just put him over on the side, because there was never anybody that fast in the heavyweight. There was never anybody like that in the heavyweight division.
He never stopped moving. I never saw anything like it. Watch the films, watch the tapes of Big Cat Williams, who was a tremendous puncher. Ali, he never stopped moving. He perpetual motion.
I saw this young man fight Cleveland Williams back in the 60s, and I saw movement and hand speed of a lightweight. And you just could not believe this was a heavyweight.
Ali in his prime, he had a lot of bad habits, and he just was able to get away with it because he was so much quicker than the other fighters. I think that Mike matches in speed and brute strength. It comes down to who would be the smarter fighter. You're talking about, my mind cusses Mike Tyson. You're talking about a machine.
When Mike fought from 85 through 88, he was technically the best fighter of all time, technically. The way he moved his head and the way he threw punches, no fighter ever did more technically proficient moves in the history of boxing.
I would rank Mike Tyson. They were some of the great fighters, great heavyweights. But you also must understand that Mike's, with his knockout ratio and his incredible record, he did that in spite of having personal and social demons. I mean, he did that in spite of all that.
Good evening, gentlemen. You were both given your instructions in the dressing room. Are there any questions by
You're
either of
talking
you?
Mike Tyson in his prime. His prime, in my mind's eye, was 1987-88. Michael Spinks would have been the pinnacle of his prime.
Now watch Tyson jump right into his chest. Michael Spinks, give him a little movement. Keep those hands high. Very, very high.
Stepping in.
All right, stop punching. Knock it off!
Cappuccino already warning Mike about the elbows. Various opponents have complained that Tyson rocks them with elbows along the ropes in close.
You see the tactics used by Michael Spinks now. He's throwing his jab, but he has to keep those hands extremely high. Watch for the uppercuts too.
Tyson landed a left hand in close quarters, and now Cappuccino goes to work again. Tyson not afraid, as we expected, and Spinks ready to mix it up with him. Tyson along the ropes doing damage.
Michael Spinks has to keep moving because every shot.
Uppercut landed inside, and Spinks went down. It was the left uppercut.
I was surprised there was a body shot that put him to the canvas.
And that is the first time Michael Spinks has ever been down in a professional fight.
And he's down again and in serious trouble.
Knocks out Michael Spinks, minute and 30 seconds into the first round. Beautiful right hand punch. Had moved just as Spinks was trying to throw his own right. Tyson at his best.
If you check those films over again, you can see that Michael Spinks threw 9 straight right hands and never hit Tyson or any of them. And Mike just took all that away from him and knocked him out. And I always consider that as one of Mike Tyson's great fights.
Instead of guys saying you're a master boxer, I'm just a fighter. I'm a master fighter. I go in there and fight. I could be anybody in the world and fighting. You know what I mean? No, I'm not talking about going in there and master jabbing and slipping side to side. I'm talking about going there and fighting and doing everything I know with all my knowledge, and they're using everything they know. I'm the best fighter.
I am bigger than boxing. I am bigger than all the champions put together. I'm bigger than the Super Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Kentucky Derby, the Indianapolis 500. When I go, the world, truly, the world listens.
For some boxers, fight strategy is as uncomplicated as a hammer striking an anvil. For others, boxing is a matching of wits, a chess match, move and counter move, and the violence is only secondary. Tyson, of the Anvil Hammer School, follows only one master plan: seek and destroy. Close in on the enemy and annihilate him. With a mind as quick as his fists, Ali, the chess master, studies his foe with wide, unblinking eyes, writing his strategy in the early rounds behind a cutting jab and a straight right hand. Tyson versus Ali, each in his prime, would be the classic match of bull and matador.
Ali used a lot of skill in his strategy. He was very fast. He was on his toes. He moved very well. He moved to the left. He moved to the right. And he had a good left jab to keep his opponents at bay. And he had a quick right hand. And he threw combination punches. He wasn't the biggest puncher of all time, but he would put together enough leather to, in many cases, take his opponent out.
In many ways, Ali does everything wrong in the ring. He pulls back straight instead of bobbing and weaving. He holds his hands too low. He doesn't go to the body. He's a headhunter. And he gets away with it because of his speed. Because he is Muhammad Ali and can bring that speed to the party. But Muhammad Ali's greatest strength is not just his speed, it's his ability to think.
Vince Lombardi said one time that God's gift to boxing took it away from football. He said Muhammad Ali could have been a great football player because he had in order the brains, the speed, and the guts. And he said to be a great athlete, it takes in that order: brains, speed, and guts.
Although considered by many to be past his prime at age 32, Ali perpetuated his aura of invincibility when he took on George Foreman in 1974.
I saw probably the greatest moment of his entire career, and that was when he regained the title, when he beat George Foreman in Zaire. That to me was a most extraordinary performance.
body of Muhammad Ali. That's Ali on your right, Foreman on the left. A wild left hand thrown by George Foreman, taken on the side of the head of Ali.
Foreman was considered unbeatable. He was a monster. He was the hardest punching heavyweight there's ever been at that time, so people said. And Ali showed not only how great a thinker he was and a great a boxer he was, showed how brave he was. And nobody took a shot better than him. He had an incredible chin and incredible courage. And he allowed Foreman, this monster puncher, to punch himself out on his body.
Foreman with a wild right again. Ali looks like he's trying to rest in this round. His punches are not doing any damage, though. Vicious right thrown to the body of Ali. Wild right.
He got hit a tremendous shot. And he went to the ropes and put his hands up to try to collect himself. And then nothing was happening. Everybody talks about the rope-a-dope and everything. Trust me, Bill, you have to believe me. The rope-a-dope was no more in his mind than my climbing Mount Everest.
Ali does look tired now. Foreman seems to be coming back with more steam. Scores with a light hand. 1 minute left in round 5.
George was winding up, for the big punch, and he hit him in this arm, and he hit him in that arm, and suddenly Ali began to think, hey, this guy's got arms like tree trunks, okay? His biceps are bigger than most people's thighs. If I can keep him from doing damage and keep my hands up, his arms are going to come down. He's going to get tired of holding those arms up. That's exactly what happened in the fight, which is how Ali hit him with a real short, chop right hand after setting it up later on.
And then when the time was right, he inflicted the coup de grace. He came out in that 8th round, I think it was, and knocked him out.
Ali, a sneaky right hand. This time he works over the shoulder of Foreman.
If you wanted to bring it down to one element, one critical element, if you said to me, how could Ali beat Mike Tyson? The element is versatility.
Tyson is a gladiator. Muhammad was a gladiator. But Muhammad inside the ring, he could move and float and dance. And Tyson comes right at you. There's no strategy. Anyone who's fighting Mike Tyson, they know where to look for him, right on the end of their glove. He's coming. And if you can take the pressure, you may go 3 or 4 rounds. If you can't, you're going to lay at his feet.
Tyson needs somebody to beat on. Tyson needs somebody to meet him head on. But you don't fight Tyson head on because then you fight him at his strength. So you don't give him the strength points. You don't try to outstrong the guy. What you do, you outwit the guy. Keep him off balance where he can't hit you with heavy shots. Pop him with that jab when the guy sort of reaches you with that hook. Muhammad has a patented move like the one he knocked out Liston with. Everybody said didn't see the punch. Pop, pop, slide right, drop the right hand right down the pike. This stops aggression.
Pop, pop, hooking, jabbing and left hooking, jabbing and left hooking. Yeah, I'm a pretty fighter.
Muhammad Ali had a flicking jab. He had quick right hands, quick left hooks, his two punches and bunches. How would your face look with Ali's jab slapping you in the face every time you look up? Every time you blink, your head going like this. You know, I mean, people, you get out of the ring and people say, God damn, Ali really put something on at that time, you know what I mean?
The easiest thing in the world that Mike does is get away from the jab. In just a few seconds, you could see that in the 4th round of the Holmes fight. For a few seconds, when Larry wanted to punch, when he wanted to use the jab. In the first 3 rounds, he didn't throw any punches. But in the 4th round, when he started to use the jab, watch Mike's head. Larry's jab was not Ali's at the time, but it was very fast, it was very hard, and Holmes tried to hit him with it. Easy as pie to slip the punch.
You're talking about a student, a master in Mike Tyson. Head movement, knows how to take a jab away, knows what to do, hit and miss, move your head so when the guy punches back, you're not there to hit. So I think that Muhammad Ali would have been flustered. There you go. There you go. Good.
Tyson was very good at slipping jabs. He was very good at his best, in all fairness. And that was one of his greatest strengths, is when you thought that you had to just jab. But then when they jabbed, he'd slip the punch, and that created an opening, and he would knock you out.
So there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's a combination we haven't seen. Yeah, bring it up, and right hand right behind it, boy. That's it. That's money, boy. That's one. Bring it straight or down.
Yeah.
Bring it down is good too. You bring it up, you bring it down.
Bring it down, doesn't bring it straight.
Either one. That's what I'm telling you. Okay.
I think when you look at Ali's career, the nearest thing that he ever fought to Mike Tyson was, of course, Joe Frazier. And they had 3 wonderful fights.
They're both about the same size. Maybe Joe 1 or 2 inches bigger, or Tyson might be 1 or 2 inches bigger. But they basically fight in a crouch. They're called face fighters. They come in and try to work the body so they can get their left hook or the right hand in.
Now look, this is all I have to do to Joe Frazier. Come on in. I'm not going to.
You're not going to hit me, Mr. Champion.
Come on in. I'm not going to hit you.
I think you want to get even with me.
I'm not going to hit you. Come here. Let me show you. This is what I'll do with Joe Frazier. Just jab, keep my distance. Jab. Bop. And then he does that. He's not that good. I'm telling you, he's a slugger.
I'm an old man. If I can do it, he can do it.
I'm talking about Joe Frazier. All right. Pull it in, jab. See, you're the scholar of boxing.
Oh, give me that stuff.
No, he's not that fast, I'm telling you.
Joe was just so tenacious, and he just refused to be beaten. So he put all that pressure on Muhammad. He just kept calm, and he did a lot of bobbing up and down. He wasn't bobbing and weaving the proper way. He kept going up and down with his head. So the difference would be, Mike would be moving his head the right way, side to side, bobbing, stepping to the side. Aiming for the liver, aiming for the floating rib, aiming for the solar plex, and ripping an uppercut. Where Joe just came straight forward and was winging.
This is Joe Frazier fighting me. Punches around, see? This is Joe Frazier. He's trying to block him. What he's doing, he's catching him, see? And a real boxer, this is nothing but a target for a man who can stay on his toes, who can stick him. Stay off of range when he don't want to punch. When he's ready to punch, move in. Stick. That's what you do a man like Joe Frazier.
I kept Frazier right on top of Ali as much as possible. He never let up. He would go from bell to bell, every round, pursuing Ali and looking for any chance he got to throw a punch, whether you landed or not. Tyson does not pursue his opponent with the same relentless tactics that Joe Frazier pursued Ali.
But there are very few fighters who could fight backing up, and Muhammad was one of the few.
Ali loved people to go on to him. And he didn't have to go looking for them. They went straight at him. And that's what Tyson would have done, because that's the only way Tyson can fight.
Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go.
Before the first bell dies away, he's already throwing bombs at you.
Come on, break. Come on, let it go.
And Ali would have danced on the outside of the ring, and he'd have flicked that jab in Tyson's face constantly.
Mike was at his best, not when he was punching. Mike was at his best when he was defensive, because in being defensive, it always gave him the opportunity to land a big punch. The fights that people remember, perhaps the Berbick fight or the Pinklon-Thomas fight, even Tyrell Biggs, where Mike was a monstrous puncher and just demolished the opposition, they were good performances, but in essence, they didn't capture what Mike does best. And what Mike does best is move his head, particularly in a fight perhaps like Reggie Gross fight, where Mike stood directly in front of Reggie Gross. And Reggie opened up with perhaps 10 or 15 punches and could not hit Mike. In the history of boxing, I had never seen a performance like that in 15,000 fight films. That is when Mike is very good. And in order for Mike to be like that, he has to be very relaxed.
Mike Tyson, his philosophical approach to boxing is to take his opponent out as early as possible, in less than a round if possible. And he's been doing that. He's a spoiled brat of boxing.
There's no fighter like me. I was reading today there was some fighters in the papers quoting, I don't like Mike Tyson because he's too cocky and he's arrogant. But for all the fighters that said that, you know what I mean, I let them know there's no fighter like me and I can beat any man in the world.
Tyson trains, like a sprinter. He trains for short fights. Yeah, he was in great shape. To look at him, he was in marvelous shape. It takes more than that. Your mental outlook has to be for a long fight, and your body has to be told this is a long fight. And you have to program your body, and the only way that you can do that is by having these long fights. That's one of the big problems with Mike Tyson, you see. And this can help to understand the loss against Holyfield. Mike Tyson was the kind of a guy that had so much confidence in his style and his ability. He just wasn't prepared for a long fight. He expected the fight to end in the early rounds, and when it didn't, he ran out of air, his stamina was gone, and in a sense, all that affects your durability.
I think Mike Tyson, if he doesn't take a man out in 2 or 3 rounds, starts to lose a little interest.
Now, this guy hasn't won a round, but the rounds right now here are getting to be a little stinky, you understand? But this guy ain't doing nothing, you're just letting him tie you up.
You can see him clutching and grabbing, looking to his corner, looking to the referee, doesn't fight inside. Sort of gets bored by the whole thing. Maybe he just figured, I didn't do it. Maybe self-doubts.
It's okay not to have a sensational fight. But a lot of times when he couldn't blow a guy out, get his way, what would he do? Watch the tapes. He'd put his hands behind the guy, so the guy would tie him up. He was like making a silent agreement, a silent contract, that if I don't punch, you won't punch. So he put his hands back, and he knew most of these guys would agree with it, because it was a free ride. And that's when Ali wouldn't give him a free ride. He wouldn't give him a free pass. That's when Ali would, act on that. You see, in a Foreman fight, he was well past his prime, but he knew when it was time, When the other guy was looking for rest and looking for help, he knew when it was time to step it up.
Muhammad Ali was a guy that you just was not going to whip. You knock him down or whatever, he was going to be there. The last bell ring, he was going to be there. Mike Tyson has not proven himself to be that kind of guy. He's a front runner. As long as he's ahead, he'll whip you. But if he gets behind, he's not the kind of guy who can come from behind and catch up. But Muhammad Ali, he'd always have something in reserve.
Ali also had a great sense of anticipation. He did things wrong, like Roy Jones Jr. does now. But he had a great sense of anticipation. And one last strength that he had, supreme confidence. He believes that nobody could beat him.
I don't care how small the ring is, I'll fight that chump in a telephone booth.
And you be there to see it, you hear? Man, I don't get hit. I'm the fastest thing on 2 feet, man.
Let me see you close your mouth and just keep it closed.
Well, you know that's impossible.
No, keep it closed.
You know that's impossible. I'm the greatest. And I'm knocking out all bums. And if you get too small, I'll knock you out.
Now close your mouth, but just let me see if you can leave it closed for 10 seconds.
Well, that's impossible. You know that's impossible.
I'm hollering loud because I can back up every word. And I'll whoop any man in the world, and I want everybody out there on TV to know it. I am the greatest.
The things that Ali had that would have bothered Mike was Ali's confidence. Tremendous confidence. While Ali got knocked down a lot, well, I shouldn't say a lot, he got knocked down, he always got up. And for any big puncher, like Mike was, if you come at a guy, and he keeps getting up, keeps coming back, the tremendous heart and courage that Ali had would have had some effect on Mike.
Early knockouts are impressive, but as the rounds mount up, stamina becomes a fighter's most valued asset. In his first 47 fights, Tyson fought past the 10th round only 8 times, and in 2 of those, he was stopped. Ali was the marathoner, trained in mind and body to go the distance. Before he retired, Ali went past the 10th round 31 times. While surely it was his skill and speed that saw him safely through the first 10 rounds, it was his endurance and the heart and courage that lifted him off the floor against the likes of Henry Cooper that carried him beyond.
The bell has sounded, and he's up at about 3, Clay. That was the end of the 4th round, and he hit him about 2 seconds before the end of the round. With the left hook, Clay took 1 chance too many, and he still doesn't know where he is. He's still half out, Clay. They're working furiously on him in the corner. Angelo Dundee, his trainer. He really is giving him a talking to.
Now the question becomes, how many shots could Ali take and keep coming back before Mike hits so hard and so often that the fight is over? And that's where the barometer is. What would have kept Ali in there long enough? How much tremendous heart and courage would have he needed to stay in there to keep taking the punches? Ali was a puncher who was sharp and threw a lot of punches, but they weren't hard punches. They were meant to score points. They were meant to keep fighters away. Mike throws punches to kill you. He has bad intentions, as he was taught. So that was the difference in the two. So the question becomes, would Ali have been able to take those shots long enough?
Henry Cooper, good punching left hook, caught him, and he dropped him. Joe Frazier caught him, good left hook, dropped him. But, he had this habit of getting up. And Tyson might drop him, but he'd get up. And Tyson wasn't so used to guys getting up. The only guy I think that, one of the only guys that got up with Tyson was Buster Douglas. When Tyson dropped him with the uppercut. Douglas got up. Ali would get up, and then he would finish out the round, moving, whatever he had to do, and then he'd take control.
Anybody can get knocked down, but get up and win that's the special thing, and he did get up and win.
I've seen him get up from or to recover from punches that would have knocked the ordinary fighter out. I knocked him cold.
I think Muhammad Ali was able to handle power punchers a lot better than he could the old 1-2 punchers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That gave him a lot of problems. But if you were depending on one shot, he'd always move just out of the range and maybe hit you 2 or 3 times. He could handle the punches. Sonny Liston, George Foreman, you name him. He was in there and able to get those guys who depended on one punch.
I think if anything that was proven with Ali is the fact that he was more resilient than most fighters. His recuperative powers were incredible, and I think that's what separates him from the rest.
He could take a punch. God knows Joe Frazier leveled him. His eyes were glassy on the way down in the 15th round of their fight in the Garden, which they called the fight because it was that big. And the minute his butt hit the ground, his eyes were clear and he got back up.
I've seen Ali take some awful punches. I swear to God, in the middle, Joe hit him with a left hook. It turned his head all the way around like it was on a swivel. Of course it didn't, but it just, I don't know how he stayed up in that punch. It was a harder punch than the one Joe knocked him down with it.
Tyson never fought punches like that. And he got knocked out by Buster Douglas. Ali was never knocked out. Ali, when he was a shell, when he was a skeleton, when he was a shadow, when he was sad, didn't get knocked out by Holmes. They had to stop it. I mean, there was no greater chin than Ali's. None.
Tyson was tested against Razor Reddick a couple of times. He was hit very hard. He stood up under it. As far as I'm concerned, Mike Tyson hasn't proven yet that he's got a soft chin.
One of the problems he had, which is a delightful problem to have, is that he got hit so infrequently that people always asked, we wonder if he can take a shot. And that's the type of question, if you're a manager or a fighter, you love to hear. Can your fighter take a shot?
Buster Douglas punished him for 9 rounds, and he still had enough to knock Buster down with a single punch. And then in the following round, Buster just beat the living daylights out of him. And it took tremendous combination in the 10th round to put him down, and then he struggled up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Evander Holyfield hit him with some tremendous shots, And Mike just kept coming back. And Mike has proven to me, I think to a lot of the boxing cynics, that he can take a punch. He's really well equipped with a good chin.
You know, people ask me, if you ever fight Wilt Chamberlain, how will it turn out? You know what'll happen? Know how it will sound? Know what you hear over your radio? Timber!
Flat-footed and barefoot, Muhammad Ali was 6 feet 3 inches. In boxing shoes and on his toes, an elevation where he spent most of his career, he was closer to 6'5", and he used every inch of it. Mike Tyson is listed at a generous 5 feet 11 inches, and his style of bended knees and often bent body gives him, as a heavyweight, the stature of the average middleweight.
I don't think that Mike Tyson could have found Muhammad Ali with a Geiger counter. First of all, his arms are too short. Secondarily, he rarely throws outside of a jab, a straight punch. They're wide. Powerful, but wide. Ali also, if anybody got close to him, would tend A, to tie him up, and B, lean on his neck, pulling him down, which saps their strength even more. He even did it with tall men like George Foreman, let alone smaller men. Conversely, Mike Tyson has always had trouble with bigger men. Muhammad Ali is 6'3" and a half.
I look at it a different way. I look at the Bone Crusher Smith fight and the Tony Tucker fight and fights where Mitch Green, where the fighters were tall. Mike won every minute of every round of the 3 fights. On this judges' scorecards, it was 110, 100, 110, 100. Every round and every minute of the round. Now, that was Mike at his absolute worst back then, winning every minute of every round against tall guys.
The fighter was 6'2" to 3 inches tall and had a good left hand. That's height and a good left hand. And if he also had mobility, he could move to the left and he could move to the right. And also had enough boxing knowledge to stay off the ropes and out of the corners and try to make the fight stay in the middle of the ring as much as possible. That type of fighter bothered Tyson. Ali is that type of fighter.
See, I don't stand still when I'm tagged. I dance. Tie him up, hold him, back up, stick it, move. Don't take but a few seconds to recuperate if you're in shape. Ellis kept running in the... Frazier said, what? Well, I guess anybody could if I keep letting them hit me there. But for him and his short arms to get to my body, he's got to get within hitting range to touch my body. And before he's going to be in my hitting range, before he's in my hitting range. So I'm a scientific fighter. I figure all this out.
Muhammad Ali's height, he was probably the only boxer, true boxer, who would take advantage of his height. And he wouldn't bend down and lean in. When he get to the corner, he'd hold his head up, knowing that the shorter guys could not curve up if you just stay straight.
Tyson will have a difficult time with a guy like Muhammad Ali or myself because we're 6'3" and whatever, and we use all our height. We don't get down to 5'11", the same size as Mike Tyson. We have the long jab, and we're tall, and we move side to side, so that would make it very difficult for a guy like Mike Tyson to hit. But if we will walk straight back into the ropes in the corners and not having the side to move, we will probably be in trouble.
Charlie Goldman rhetoric years ago with Marciano. You got a short guy, make him shorter. You got a tall guy, make him taller, because you got those assets to utilize. So tall guy, stand tall. Quick guy, make him quicker. Good left hand, get a hook off that jab. It's all according to what you're working with. But I see all those guys. There was guys around that would have beat Tyson because of Tyson's shortness. They would have taken advantage of it.
Tyson in the past has never been successful with fighters who kept their head straight up high at all the time. He'd always get them to reach down into his territory and tag them quick. He's got this good speed that if you catch you leaning down a little bit, you won't have two times to do it.
Mike normally catches a guy with that uppercut after he's delivered a body shot. That makes him fold over, then come back up. But I don't recall seeing Ali double over from a body shot. Ali was well conditioned, and most guys can't take body shots. Ali took a lot of body shots.
It's not the size of the person in the fight. It's always the size of the fight in the person. And what I learned from Customaro, he showed me and showed all his fighters how you get away from a point, how you take a reach away. And Mike really never had any trouble with tall guys. He used to eat them up. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Tyson depends on his power, his strength, and his quickness. I call Tyson's effectiveness quick power. He hits extremely hard, lightning quick speed. That, I think, is the basis for the many knockouts and the intimidation that he wreaks on his opponents.
I've never been intimidated a day in my life. I've been very scared, but as far as performing anything, I'm talking about being in the streets, being anywhere. I've never been intimidated a day in my life, and I really don't know that feeling. I'm talking about, I don't know that feeling.
My New Year's revolution is to knock out that big ugly bear, shake up the whole world in 1964, and talk no more.
Joe Frazier, Jack Dempsey, Joe Louis, Dick Earl, our ball.
Clay comes out to meet Liston, and Liston starts to retreat. If Liston goes back an inch farther, he'll end up in a ringside seat.
Walk like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Oh, rumble, young man, rumble. Oh.
Muhammad Ali intimidated opponents with pre-fight poetry, semi-hysterical scorn, and insulting nicknames.
Come on, girl, we in Manila.
Tyson's style of intimidation is simpler. He's just there. Cold eyes set in stone. A silent, fearsome figure.
Mike Tyson's biggest strength, besides a left from hell, is intimidation. Sort of Sonny Liston +1. Now Liston used intimidation in a different way. His malevolent stare, the towels underneath his robe so that when he stood across from you at the last minute instructions by the referee, he bulked up and looked even bigger than he was. Liston was intimidating. Mike Tyson as a figure is not intimidating because he's much shorter. But what he does with that intimidation and that figure to bring intimidation is unusual. He dresses coming into the ring in all black, no socks, no robe, and almost a soup bowl haircut.
Ali was the type of person that you could not intimidate because of his likeness of doing what he knew how to do, and that was to fight.
Why you not go with the army? You chicken.
Those fighters are in excellent and exceptional shape.
Why you not go with the army?
I will tell you Monday night in the first clinch you get in.
Chicken, you chicken. Beep, 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 chicken, beep.
Good deal. Keep talking.
Chicken.
Keep talking. Now I know you're going to get a whooping. Please tell everybody to get to your theaters. I've never had a man that I wanted to whoop so bad.
Ali would make a joke out of you trying to intimidate him Matter of fact, before it was all over, he probably would have intimidated you because he'd have done things to you to make you think. He'd have slapped you with jabs, slapped you with right hand, slapped you with 3 or 4 combination shots, and then talk to you at the same time. These things Ali would have done to Mike Tyson that Mike Tyson would have been saying, wow.
I'm the king of the ring.
I don't think that Ali intimidated his opponents. He frustrated them.
He should have been a psychoanalyst. He knew how to handle people. He knew what will get under their skin.
See, here's the way he looks when you hit him. All night, that's all he's gonna be. All night in Malaysia. That's all you're gonna see. The Philippines, rather. Come on, girl. We in Manila.
Just like Joe Frazier still haven't gotten over the things that Ali said to him. You're ignorant, you ain't nothing, you're Uncle Tom, you're this, you're that. He still haven't gotten over that.
Joe Frazier whoops me, I hand him the belt. When he proves to me he's the real champion of the world, this will be his belt. I will pop you upside your head today. Let me go. No, champ. Let me go. No, champ. I'm going to beat your belt until you call me a Holy.
With Mike Tyson's state of mind, I think he would be the same kind of a guy because he always on edge when it comes down to a fight. He don't shake your hand. He don't acknowledge you until the fight is over. But I think that would have been to Ali's advantage to get to him because he'd have been on him. The people, the fans would have been on him. You know, Ali going to do this, Ali going to do that, Ali going to do everything you went, everywhere you went. The people wouldn't have said nothing about Mike Tyson. They'd say Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. You could be champion of the world, but it's always Muhammad Ali.
If I was a young man and had to do it all over again, I would see him and just cow down all the time and make him feel superior. I would not try to be the one because you would only make him successful intimidating him. And he'd get scared and nervous too. And he'd function better.
This will be the thrilling and the most dramatic fight in the history of all fights.
This will be the biggest fight in the history. I want the whole world to hear, round 9, you will be mine. And if you like to lose your mind, be a fool and bet on Sunday. I predict that tonight somebody will die at ringside from shock.
Ali used to say, never predict on the predictor. Ali was the predictor. He would call the round.
I predict that he will go in 8 to prove that I am great. And if he want to go to heaven, I'll get him in 7. He'll be in a worse of fix if I cut it to 6. And if he keeps talking jive, I'll cut it to 5.
Could you imagine fighting Ali and he just told everybody he's going to knock out in the 4th round? And here you are in the 4th round. And all of a sudden that heavy artillery keeps coming in on you. Bang, there you go.
That's the $1 million question. Would Mike be inhibited against Ali? And strangely enough, Mike wasn't inhibited by the fighter. He's more inhibited by the moment. The moment. What affects Mike is from the outside. And what that means is his own emotional stability. So it doesn't matter whether it's Ali or Rocky Marciano or Joe Louis, it's how Mike thinks as he's walking into the ring.
One thing that Evander Holyfield had going for him, one thing that a Buster Douglas had going for him, and one thing that a Ali would have going for him in a fight with Mike Tyson is the fact that there was no fear factor involved. You got to understand that most of the time, 99% of the time, when Mike Tyson faced an opponent, the opponent lost the fight before he entered the ring. He was so petrified. If you go back and watch Michael Spinks, if you go back and watch Frank Bruno, if you watch Bruce Sell, you can go name a ton of those guys. They all were afraid.
If I had to pick Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson in their prime,
in the ring against Ali,
I'd go for
as a
Muhammad Ali.
puncher, there's a tremendous question in my mind of whether or not Ali would have been able to keep Mike
You know why?
off as a puncher.
Always depending on his smarts.
Remember, we're talking
Always.
about two fighters at the top of their game. That's the only way that you could make this kind of a hypothetical matchup.
Rather than
Ali wins those
be
battles.
betting on a guy landing one punch and getting lucky, and getting fortunate.
Tyson Ali fight,
I bet on the guy who's going to be there all night.
12th round, 11th round, because I don't think Tyson would be able to sustain
First
that.
3, 4, 5 rounds, Ali would just prance around, using his jab, hands down at his
Even
side.
with Tyson earlier in his career, he was doing a lot of moving and bobbing.
Naturally, he would shuffle, do the Ali
After
shuffle.
the 4th or 5th round, he stopped doing
Do a
that.
lot of clenching, tying up, because
just kept
Tyson
walking
would be in there with one main objective, and that is to get inside to work Ali's
Trying to
body.
do like this and throw one punch.
It would be a great fight.
And every time he did that, Ali would have cracked him with a right hand or a left hook or hit him with
I think
a
that
straight jab.
because Mike matches him with speed of hand, that he would score more
You have to
blows.
give Tyson credit for what he does. He does it well. When he hits you, he hurts
He
you.
would have to win on, at worst on points. At best, you know, he would take him out in 1-2 rounds.
But I don't think he would have been able to get to Ali.
Tyson don't have a jab. You know, he don't jab. That's ridiculous.
Mike was a better fighter.
There's a guy, a world champion, don't jab. You got to jab. Man without a jab is not a fighter.
Had better habits, the head movement. He would be making Ali miss all over the place.
I think the only way that Tyson could beat Ali is mug him on the way out of the dressing room.
And this one strength of both of them is they have heart. They wanted to fight. They're fighters. I mean, they did not like to lose. They never entered the ring with an idea of losing, either one of them. Even after they lost, they never entered the ring with the idea of losing.
Okay, why don't we just all agree that both these young men were great fighters in their time?
Yeah, Tyson.
Okay?
Yeah.
Tyson came along when boxing was dying and made it exciting again, knocking everybody out in 1, 2, 3 rounds.
Yeah, Tyson had a hard punch. There's no question about it. His head movement was good in his prime. He was a good
I
fighter.
appreciate your point, Bob, but Tyson will still kick his ass.
No way. No way. They never got by his left jab.
They would have got by his left jab.
Never got by his left
Foot
jab.
speed.